guys, welcome back to my channel. I am starting off my video looking a little bit half done, I guess, but that's because this is my updated eyebrow routine video. You guys have been requesting this like mad since I posted something on Instagram the other day on my Insta stories saying that I had basically kind of updated my brow routine, and yes girls, like this is it. I feel like it has reached perfection for me anyway, to where my eyebrows are, and I really like how they've turned out. I feel like I have reached like peak for my eyebrows anyway. If you are like me and you don't have much eyebrow hair to work with, then I'm hoping that you will find this quite useful, just because we're in two categories, the people with hair and the people without hair. And I think the people with hair assume that we can do what they do. We can't, like it's a process for us. So I'm here to hook you up, okay? I have done an original video on my brow routine and a blog post on that as well. So I'll make sure to link them on screen and down below as well in the description bar. Please make sure to go check that out if you haven't seen it already. It basically has a very much more detailed step-by-step in terms of how I shape my eyebrows. I won't be talking about how I shape my eyebrows in this video just because I went into detail on that in the last video. So if you'd like to see that, make sure you go check that out. Otherwise, I'm not going to ramble. I'm trying to make, I'm trying to turn a new leaf, become a new woman, stop talking so much and stop rubbishing you guys. So before we get into the video, please make sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Follow me on my socials and give the video a thumbs up if you like this kind of tutorial. So let's just get into it. Okay, so welcome to my naked face. Before I get into the tutorial, I just want to show you the tools that you will need. Most of these you will have seen already if you have already seen my original eyebrow routine video, but there's just one or two new products that I want to talk about specifically. So first things first, let's talk about the brushes that you will need. So I have 3 brushes that I use when I'm doing my eyebrows, and I just want to show them to you real quick because I'm looking so scaggy. Okay, and they are dirty because I use these every day. So the first one is this brush right here. It's a double-ended spoolie brush. So it's got an angled liner brush on one end, which is the one that kind of has that kind of a shape. And then it has a spoolie on the other end. This brush comes from AOA Studio. It's the E133 brush, but it comes as part of a set and is one of my favorite brushes that I've used for doing my eyebrows, which is kind of like the double end one. I really like the spoolies, nice and stiff, but also not too big because I don't have a lot of eyebrow hair, so it helps me control that. And then I like that the angled liner side can get really nice and fine, so it does everything I need. The second one is another angled liner brush. So technically you don't have to have both this one and this one, because you could just clean off that brush and use this one. But I use this one to do the cleaning up under my eyebrows, and I've talked about this brush before. I love this brush, and I bought a backup, but the backup isn't as nice as this one for some reason, but it's a brush from Susie Beauty, and it's rubbed off, so I have no idea what it's called, but it will be like E something because it's an eye brush, but it's an angled liner brush as well. I really like this one for cleaning up my eyebrows with concealer, so that is in there. And then the last brush that I have is this domed fluffy brush from Morphe. It came as part of a set, and it's basically, it's kind of like a little mini buffing brush, but for your eyebrows. Like, you know the way you have a foundation brush that's like a buffing brush? It's kind of that texture, but I use it for my eyebrows. Alternatively, because this isn't readily available in the country, you can go out and get one of these brushes, and I'm sure you'll have seen it. It will either have a black handle, a pink handle, some other kind of handle, but they're usually quite affordable and come in like, say, like a set of 3 or 4. So any kind of shops in town will probably have one of these, and it's quite, it's dense, but it's not as dense as the Morphe one, but it will still do the job in terms of buffing out your concealer. So that's an alternative brush. So those 3. So moving on now to products, I have 3 products to talk about. The first one, and which is the change in how I do my eyebrows, is that I've gone back to doing my eyebrows with gel. I don't know when this started. I think I kind of just saw my gel on the side, and then I started using it, and then I was like, why did I ever stop? So now I'm back to using gel on my eyebrows. Gel eyebrow pomade. So there's lots of different varieties of these that you can pick up from most places, I think, on most beauty stores. But the one that I'm using now, I think until it finishes, because I opened a new tub and I need to get through it before it dries out, is this little black one. It's the same, sorry, is this one that I got in a set from Killimall some time back. I'll have a look whether it's still available on Killimall or on Jumia, and if it is, then I will link it down below. But I love this because once you put it on, it sets and you don't have to go back in and reset your brows. It locks in, it's there for the day, like it is not moving. I also bought an alternative one, which I haven't used yet, I must say, from NYX. It's called the NYX Tame and Frame Tinted Brow Pomade in the colour Espresso. So I'm kind of waiting until I get through this first one before I open this one, because this also has a short shelf life. But basically, it just looks like that. Shall I show you the other one? The other one's quite grubby. Yeah, it looks like that. The top tip for this and picking out any kind of brow colour product is please don't buy black. I say this all the time to people one-on-one and also in my videos, just please don't buy a black pomade. It will look too harsh on your skin, so make sure that you get a deep dark brown. So that's one product, the eyebrow pomade. The next product is my good old Davis pencil, and the one I'm going to show you is so tiny. I'm going to finish through this one and then open out a new one, but it's basically a long pencil usually. But I still use my Davis pencil, and I'll show you how I do that. And that's about 30 shillings, 40 shillings, so bargain products all the way for the win. And then finally, the last product that I use is concealer. Of course, you guys know how paramount it is for me to clean up my eyebrows after they're done, and concealer is that girl. Like, you will do your eyebrows with your gel or your pencil, and especially like me, if you haven't got much hair to guide along the way, you can end up doing some wild mistakes. So you want to try and bring that back, and to do that I use concealer. The one I absolutely love and will keep repurchasing until somebody shows me something better is this, and it's the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer in the shade C13. Slightly lighter than my skin tone and definitely lighter than my face. That's the inner part of my arm, which is a little bit lighter than my face. So I use that to clean up my eyebrows to get the kind of definition that I need under my brows, and then I go in and blend it all out. So those are the products. Nice and simple. As I say, you'll be familiar with most of them already if you have watched my previous tutorial. And now let's just get straight into it. Step one, as per usual, is to grab your spoolie brush and to brush out your eyebrow hair. So I brush upwards. And then for the second part of my hair, I kind of brush it almost horizontally. So I start on the bottom of my brow, all the way in. If you've got brow hair that comes all the way in, you don't need to start your line all the way in, but I don't. So I definitely do go in with my line all the way in. And that's it, I sketch out my bottom line. Then I do the same for the top, but I don't start in the same place. I start a little bit further back, and you'll see why a little bit later. That's me, marked out my brow. And now we are going to fill in the brows. So I don't fill in this first section, which I've left with kind of no top. I start somewhere in the middle, and I'm going to use hair-like strokes in a diagonal kind of shape to fill in my brows. So these start off almost vertical diagonal towards the beginning and become more diagonal and almost straight towards the tail. Because I haven't got much hair towards my tail, I'm not really stressing myself. I just kind of fill it in how it gets filled in. Alright, so once I've done the tail end, then it comes into filling in the front end. And in the front end, I usually don't reload my brush, so whatever is left of my brush is what I'm going to use. And I'm not going to fill it in all the way. I'm doing some very fine and far apart strokes. So I'm trying to make them hair-like, and these are going in almost vertically. if not vertically. Okay, so that's it for the gel pomade, but I do go back to my spoolie end and then now just start kind of combing up in that same pattern and shape that I've been doing before, diagonally and vertically, just to distribute some of that product. I find that once it's set, I can get a more natural blend than actually if I leave it, if I start doing this when it's wet. It's weird, I know, but somehow that's the way that it works. And now I grab my concealer, and as I said, this is the shade C13. And then I start loading up my brush, because it's got a doe foot applicator. So I load up my angled liner brush from Susie Beauty, kind of like this. Not too much on either side. And I work one eyebrow at a time. So holding it with the longest tip towards the middle of my face and the shortest tip to the outside of my face, I just start applying that concealer. And as I said earlier, this is where if you feel like you have drawn on your eyebrows a bit too thick, that you can definitely carve in to make them narrower. And I almost always carve in to make mine a little bit narrower. Also to get rid of that very harsh line that might be there from the gel. Okay, so I apply that and then basically load off whatever's on my brush onto my brow, and then I grab my blending brush and just go in and diffuse. Diffuse that concealer. So you might find that you've made a little bit of a mistake, maybe carved it out a little bit wrong. I can already see a point where I want to correct it just slightly, and your David's pencil is perfect for that because it's just going to help you fill it in that little section where I made a little bit of a mistake. So you should be able to see hopefully a difference between this eyebrow and this eyebrow. This one looks a lot more refined. This one still looks a little bit like... So guys, that is the end of my updated eyebrow routine. I hope you found it really useful. I'm going to go in now and finish off the rest of my face, which is just going to be a really quick beat because I'm already really late and I need to dash off to work. But that's it. I hope you found it really useful. This is basically my new eyebrow routine. A little bit of gel, a little bit of pencil, but always, 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 always concealer to bring it back to snatchdom. So I hope you found it useful, guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.